building a business, I heard Alex Hormozi say building a business is like starting a marathon, thinking you're in shape, and then realizing halfway through the marathon that you're completely out of shape, and not knowing if the marathon is going to have a finish line, if you're going to get there, or if there's an end at all. And then like getting into shape while you're on the marathon. So that's kind of funny, very funny to me. But I think the reason that like a lot of people don't start businesses is because it's high risk, but it's also a huge risk to not live the life that you want. And so it all comes down to short versus long-term gain. And so, short-term gain is, of course, like what's going to be, like there's always this seesaw in a sense, right? Whatever side of the seesaw you're tipping more towards is what's going to cause the other side to go in the opposite direction. So if you have a short side of the seesaw, like the short term, if the seesaw there is tipping in your favor, then just know the long-term gain is tipping in your favor, is tipping away from your favor, and vice versa. So like if you're not starting the business now, then that means that in your future, your long-term success is going to be more and more challenging. If you're not putting yourself in these uncomfortable positions now, then it's going to be, uncomfortable later. Now at the same time, if you're putting yourself into these risky positions and taking these massive risks now, then the long term, it's more likely that it pays off. And nothing's guaranteed in life. But each time you take a risk, you have the opportunity for it to pay off or for it to not pay off. So if you don't take the risk now, there's a lot less likelihood that it pays off in the future. But if you do take the risk now, then there's a big opportunity, a big likelihood that it pays off in the future. And so where I'm going with this is, when you build a business, you truly never know where that finish line is, where the end race is, but you do know that just by continuing to run, there's a chance you're at least going to find out if there's a finish line or not. And if you see there's a finish line, then you just keep going and you finish it. But I think a lot of marathon runners, I've never run a marathon myself one day, I definitely will, but I think a lot of marathon runners, they think that like just because there's a finish line, like they're just going to at least try to get there. And they probably all realize that it's not really passing the finish line that's fulfilling. It's on that journey when they don't feel like doing it, and they continue to push themselves further. And then afterwards, realizing like how much they push themselves. And like for me, when I used to run cross country, as much as it was just 3 miles, right, 3.1 miles, 5K, it was never the finishing line that I stepped past that felt fulfilling. It was always on that journey where I didn't feel like doing it. And then looking back at it, like I can't believe I did it. Like I actually want to go back and do it again. It's crazy as it seems to say. Same thing with like, I talked about this in a recent video, like when I used to play basketball. It was never fulfilling, getting on my varsity team and starting. Like it was cool, it was rewarding. But the fulfilling feeling came from being in the gym, being told like, yo, I suck and like I need a lot of work, being told by my varsity coach as like a freshman, even as a sophomore, like, yo, you need a lot of work if you want to actually play. Even him saying that my junior and senior year, like going into my senior year, like I don't know if that was just him trying to push me further, but that was a feeling then, going into the gym and training way harder and starting to lift weights, even on my baseball team, where I didn't have a lot of power when I would make contact with the baseball. But when I did make power with the baseball, I had a lot more power than I thought I was capable of. So I realized that if I just got stronger and if I just practiced the skill set more, then the times that I did, actually make contact with the baseball, like I was launching that ball. And I think that like when you control the variables, that you can actually control the variables that are in your power, and the easiest variables to focus on are the ones that just require grit and hard work. And like for me, that's what strength training was and what weightlifting was. There's my phone, but we're back. So like for me though, when it came to playing baseball, like I found it a lot easier to be able to just go into the gym and get stronger and lift heavy weight and have that carry over, which it did into my swing, than trying to work on being perfect with the mechanics, right? And that was just me personally. But I always found that like if you could just focus on the few key variables, smaller metrics that are easier to do and easier to excel upon, and you just hammer home those, like it's gonna get you a lot farther than trying to be perfect with all the proper exact sciences and mechanics and everything. Because it's like even then there's a science to it, so like there's a big chance that you don't, become great at it. So I realized like, okay, like for me, like I'm naturally skilled at just like wanting to work hard and just have grit. And there's actually a book that somebody recommended to me recently called Grit that I want to check out that I haven't read yet. But if you read that book, then maybe you know what I'm talking about. But basically, finding grit, I think, is really just like how bad you want something, right? And like you have the power over that. You can crank the faucet. You can crank, the lever in terms of how much effort you want to put in. What you can't crank the faucet on is like the outcome, like the output, right? But you can control the input. You can control what you put in, what you do. So maybe strategy is something, and it definitely is something that you should improve upon. But what's going to thread the needle more? Like you actually putting in as much input as possible and just grinding your way through it, or you having strategy and efficiency. I think there's a seesaw to both. But control the easiest variable to control first, because it's going to build up confidence, momentum, and this snowball effect, which is ironic because it's actually snowing now for the first time in a long time. And if you guys are from New England, you know that like it doesn't snow very much around here, unfortunately, as much as it should, at least in this year. And when you focus on the few key variables that actually improve with where you're at, then it gets so much easier to follow through, and then like those harder, more difficult tasks get easier, right? So like if you want to accomplish something, start first with the basics. If you're trying to get in shape, then the first thing you want to do is just start going to the gym. That's the most easy, frictionless task that you can do. That takes literally no effort. All you need to do is want it. Like, there were times where I did not have a car because my car was in the shop and I didn't have the money to pay for my car to get fixed. So I walked to the gym, or I rode my bike to the gym. And there were times that I walked 3.5 miles to the gym, and that absolutely sucked, bro. That was horrible. But I still wanted to lift, and so I'm like, I'm finding a way to get there. There were also times where the gym was closed because of a snowstorm, and so I had to work out at home, but I still wanted it bad enough, so I still worked out, and I made do. There were times where the roads were like, the town was like, don't drive on the roads, it's not safe. And there's a huge snowstorm, and I don't have an off-road vehicle with snow tires or anything, but it's like, bro, my workouts are more important. Like, I'm taking that risk. And then, like, those oftentimes are the best workouts. And so, like, doing things like that catapult you to the point where now you just have this, you know, as part of who you are, your DNA, right? And when you do things like this, it just truly shows your character and the person you're looking to become. And the reason that so many people don't take these small risks is because they're worried about the end outcome. Half the time, that end outcome never actually happens, and it's just all made up in your head. That, you know, thought that, what if the business fails? Or what if you go bankrupt? Or what if the business does not perform the way it wants? Like, most of the time that doesn't actually happen. People just don't take the action. Because they don't take the action, they don't see the result. And then they just blame it as, oh, I didn't want to take that risk. But there are some people that just are willing to take whatever risk is necessary. And if you're watching on the other side of the screen and you think that, like, there's something that you want to do with your life, just, I'm telling you, take the risk. Like, because the worst case scenario that happens is, like, you actually did the things that you said you wanted to do with your life. And when you live the life for yourself, right, like, I'm a huge advocate of, like, being a vessel of Christ and, like, showing your love for the Lord and, like, living for Him. But when it comes to being on earth, right, like, if you have a goal that you're attaching to that, and especially, like, a goal that you've wanted, whether that be to start a business, to go down a specific career path, whether that be to do a specific thing, help more people, travel, whatever the thing is, like, you can find a way to do that thing. You can start a business and have it be not profitable, and, you know, have it not work out, and have everything fall apart, but still be doing the work for free. Like, as crazy as it seems to say, like, you literally could do that if you really wanted to, if the business wasn't important enough for you to build. And so many people, I think that they just see the material things, the successes, and they're like, oh, it's not successful. But they don't see the character of the person that they're becoming and the impact they're having on the world. And so, like, when you can look from that lens, like, what's the riskier thing to do? It's up to you to decide that, brother. But, like, for me, the riskiest thing was not going through all these ups and downs with my business and getting started when everybody told me I shouldn't, and not knowing if it was going to work out. The riskiest thing for me was looking back when I'm 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, 100 years old, and telling myself, you know, I'm not where I want to be because I did not take that chance on myself. And that's got to be the worst feeling, bro. Even saying that out loud just makes me furious. And I think a lot of people, they just hold themselves back because they're worried about what other people think. And they also don't believe in themselves. So a lot of it is mindset. You need to actually will this into existence. But the other half of it is just not caring about what other people think about you, bro. Like, the amount of people that told me when I was starting my business, you know, like, you should be realistic, you should get a regular job. And even the people that told me, you know, subtle things that are like, I'm proud of you for starting this business. Like, I genuinely don't care if you're proud of me or not. Like, it's cool, thanks. Like, but, like, I care about what I want to do, and, like, I'm glad that I'm doing this because this is what I want to do with my life. So, like, stop listening to what other people have to say. If you don't want to live a life for other people and you want to live a life that brings you fulfillment, then you need to do things that you genuinely want to do with your life. And again, like, I think that, you know, living for bringing faith and the Lord into your career, your business, your life is most important above all else. But when you're looking at, like, what you want to do with your life, I think it should be something that you listen to your true self and you don't listen to the outsiders, the people that don't believe in you have to say. And when you do that, you're going to find that people actually appreciate the work that you're doing. People actually, you know, are affected by the business you're doing. And, like, so, like, my clients, they give me feedback. They're like, dude, like, you're like helping me out a ton, and, like, you're actually making an impact on my life. And I see certain things, like, I want to be able to help this person improve their life. And going through all of that is the greatest feeling, because it's like, this is why, like, you don't give up on yourself and you do follow through with things. But if you're looking for the short term, if you're looking for, like, oh, I need money to pay, you know, my rent, and I need money to pay, you know, to go out with friends and have drinks and, like, go to the restaurants and do all the fun stuff now in the short term, and then in the long term you're just unfulfilled. And I saw so many people in my own personal family life that had these big goals and aspirations for themselves, some of which don't even, or haven't even ever talked about them, so I don't even know what those things were. But I know deep down that these people had big dreams for themselves, big things they wanted to do, and they, you know, they just sacrificed what they wanted in the long term for what they wanted in the short term. And, like, family members that passed away from, like, lung cancer because literally every day they just decided, like, I'm just gonna smoke another cigarette, like, I'm just gonna smoke another cigarette and make me feel better now. And, like, that literally, like, just, like, destroys the long-term vision that you may have for yourself. And, like, same thing with alcohol. Like, I had family members that had problems with alcohol, right? And these are things I don't always talk on here. They're like just one more drink. It just feels good now. But like, bro, what about in the long term when you're an alcoholic and then like you have an actual problem that destroys your family? Like, have you ever thought or considered that? Like, probably not. But if you can look at the other side and realize, like, okay, like what I'm doing now, even though it doesn't feel great, like displaying myself, having the character traits of becoming the person I want to be in the short term, then the long term pays off. And so like for me, dude, like generally not caring about what other people thought about me with my life. Like when I was in college and people were inviting me to parties and I said like, yo, I don't want to go, bro. Like I want to work on my business. I want to go to the gym. Like I want to like read books, like doing this stuff. People look at you as like weird and it's like, bro, cool, whatever. But in the long term, it's like, well, now I actually have this business that actually brings me true deep fulfillment. And I don't have to worry about going out doing these things to find true fulfillment. And if you can just find the long-term, if you can find the things that are going to bring you long-term fulfillment, that's really what matters. And you don't know until you get there, but you need to discipline yourself in the short term in order to do that. So find the things that bring you the fulfillment in the long term by doing the things that you might not want to do right now. And to be honest with you, it doesn't have to be that difficult. It doesn't have to be this thing that sucks, but a lot of people, they sacrifice their long-term vision for who it is they want to be in the short term. And they don't do the things that they say they want to do because they care about what other people think about them. And that's got to be the worst thing in the world. So like starting a business, it's something that you have to look long-term. You have to look at the long-term vision. You have to look 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 years down the line. And part of the reason, actually, this is ironic, I'm giving this book to a client of mine because he's in the business and everything. And I'm like, yo, I had this cool book for you. I think you would check out. And so I'm meeting him at this park to give him this book. And like the book is about entrepreneurship and it talks about like looking from, this is actually where I got this thought from, part of it, right? The book talks about like looking at your business from a 10-year or a 20-year horizon rather than just like a 1-year horizon. I read it over the summertime and it opened things up for me. And my business started to really take off from that point. I think back to it a lot of times, like in 10 years from now, if I continue taking the actions, like my business is going to be even greater ahead. And so many people, they think in the short term, they think in the micro, they think in the like, this is going to suck now. Yes, bro, but it's going to suck even more in the long term and in the future if you don't take actions now. So think in a 10-year horizon, think in a 20-year horizon, think in a 50-year horizon. What kind of legacy can you leave? Not just on the world, but on your family, on your friends, on the people that look up to you in your own social circle, and to yourself, like the person that you truly want to become. Because we have truly one life and one life only. And so like if you look back in 10, 20, 50, 30 years and you know like, okay, I did not do the things I wanted to do with my life. You have to live with that, bro. That's your fault. And that's on you because you truly have the power to change any avenue of your life, change anything for your life, and actually accomplish the goals you say you want for yourself. But so many people, they don't believe in themselves and they care too much about what other people think about them. So they're not willing to sacrifice literally anything to get the thing that they say they want. Like I said, they say that when they don't actually want it, because if you wanted it, bro, you would be working towards having that thing. So choose. Do you want to be on the seesaw end of the side of short-term satisfaction that brings you long-term discomfort, or do you want to be on the side of short-term discipline and discomfort that brings you long-term satisfaction and fulfillment? I'm on that other end. Like and even saying it, it's like there's still times where I don't feel like doing these things, and I still maybe don't follow through 100%. But like I'm reminding myself by posting videos, by reading books, by doing these sorts of things that like I'm on that other side where I don't care what happens now because I know that I'm getting the fulfillment and I'm getting that long-term vision coming back to me, compiling over time and time and time. And who knows, like this, maybe this video passes on to a client of mine or to a friend of mine, to a family member, to somebody that actually needs to hear it. And maybe they make different decisions with their life because of, the things that they're working towards. And so many people are going to tell you be realistic and don't actually go after the things that matter, but they're never going to tell you to go all in on your dreams. That's why John Gary Stroud II is on here on YouTube, bro, saying like, yo, do the things that you say you want to do with your life because you don't have the people around you that you probably need or want. And if you're still watching this video to the end here, then you like probably have people in your life that are telling you to be realistic or whatever, and you're trying to find other ways, other messages, other people that are going to support you and push you, because it is possible to achieve anything you want for your life. It starts in the mindset, it starts in the psychological. And most people, they hold themselves back because they don't think it's possible, but it is possible. And I think that the craziest thing for me, that when I started to really unlock things and actually believe all these like mental mindset gurus I would see on the internet, was like when I knew somebody in person and I had like an in-person connection with them and I met them face to face or virtually on a phone. And so I realized that when you finally meet somebody on a personal level and you actually connect with them, like you're more likely to actually trust this person and believe what they're saying is true. And when I started to actually meet these people in person, these entrepreneurs, these 6, 7, 8 figure entrepreneurs, people that were doing real things with their lives, and I started to connect with them on a virtual basis, in-person basis, and I realized like this isn't just some scam on the internet. Like, bro, people are actually living lives that they say they want, not just financially, but with what they want to do with their career and their life and fulfillment and helping other people. Like, this is actually real. Like, there's no way that all these people are just lying about the stuff on the internet. When I started to actually think this way, it's when things started to come to me and I started to, make connections with people that had big possibilities, big opportunities, big dreams for themselves, and would push me to do the same. And so that's my thing. Is like, yo, John Stroud is on here, bro, trying to just tell you that you can achieve any goals that you set for yourself, but you need to start first. And so, bro, whatever it is you want to do with your life, just believe that you can do it, follow through, take action, and choose. Do you want now to have satisfaction, the reward, the benefits, the feelings of comfort? Or do you, with sacrificing the long-term result, or do you want to sacrifice the now, which doesn't even have to suck, bro. It doesn't have to suck. It's how you perceive these things. But do you want to just go through those tribulations now and those trials and then have the triumphs, the rewards in the future, the long term? That's your choice. But I would recommend going forward the vision, the things that you actually want to do with your life. Because it's never too late. It's never this time where, oh, like I should have done this thing. Like, no, start now, where you can continue to go. I started way too late. I started way later than I'd like to start. And I always had these visions, these deep down desires, but I knew that like, I thought at least that I had to be realistic, and you don't, and you shouldn't, bro. You need to go and attack your dreams and goals and believe in yourself. And even if you have made mistakes in the past, like you can continue to make changes and become the person you want to be, and at least say that like, okay, you went after the things you wanted, and guess what, you'll probably actually achieve that thing if you actually deep down just commit fully to it, and like commit 1000%. You'll commit 1000% and become that person you want to become. And if you guys found any, you know, resignation, right, if you guys found this video helpful at all, then drop a comment, let me know below. And if you want to check out my Instagram, it's jstroud50. The exact same username is on YouTube and on TikTok and pretty much every other social platform, like Snapchat. I don't check Snapchat, but like all my socials are jstroud50. So check me out on Instagram if you want more content like this. I'm different, bro. I'll post like 20-minute long clips on Instagram, which most people don't do. It's like 90-second clips. I don't like the short form stuff quite as much, but I still post it because I know some people prefer the shorter form stuff. But like, these are the messages that I want to get across to the world. Like, yo, go after your dreams and like, don't give up on yourself, because you never know what's possible, and you're never going to see, experience, feel how it actually feels to have these things until you get there. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Check out the other videos if you want some more mindset stuff. A lot of the videos here are mindset, faith, fitness, you know, career, chasing your dreams, your passions. And then of course, you know, the most important things are, you know, I have playlists so you can go through like the fitness, the nutrition stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.